Hey guys, what's happening? Johnny Glock. You know, it has, it's been so long I forgot where the dang record button was on my camera here. As you know, I hit a bump in the road with YouTube videos, and that's kind of, one of the reasons why I haven't been posting a bunch of stuff. At this point now, they're all downloaded and they're all safe and everything like that, so I can go ahead and proceed with what I do. Number two, I've just been absolutely swamped. It's interesting. It's just like overnight, over a 2 month period, it's just gone crazy, which is cool. It's a welcome change, and I love it because it's really helping me up and up and up and up my game. And with that, I've had to hire a couple guys to do all the stuff that keeps my hands away from the bench. And with that happening and me training them finally, it's gotten to the point where I can take a breath and put some out for you guys. This is not going to be a tutorial or anything like that. Those will be coming up. In fact, I need help. I have 88 videos. A lot of them show all kind of interesting stuff on things you can do. I know, everyone says, hey, compare this to compare that, and compare this and compare that. I don't really, want to try to do that kind of stuff. But if you have an idea of what you'd like to see, maybe like pre-travel reduction or over-travel reduction, or how to tune this or how to tune that, basically that's what I'm trying to show. I'm not trying to say, here's the ghost connector and here's this connector and double diamond and all that. That's not my game. There's plenty of people out there that do it and do it well. What I like to do is exactly what you see me do, and that is teach and instruct on some things on how to keep it safe. Safety is a huge part of it, and a lot of do-it-yourself sort of stuff, and keeping safe at the same time. With all the poly 80s and the lone wolf frames and nomad, like all this other stuff, it's not going to stop. So everyone, the more education we have, the better. So I guess I should just stick to the word educational on this format. But anyway, what I want to talk about today is, I ran my business for closer to 10 years with no website. You had to call me to get anything, just because I just wasn't web savvy. I didn't feel like messing with it. And I kind of liked vetting, and I kind of liked talking to people and getting understanding. And after that, close to a decade of information, I have been able to, use my personal preferences and what I find to be more or less what people are looking for, which is 1911. Everyone wants that 1911 feel in a Glock. And, a lot of guys that, buy their striker fire guns and then get into like the whole 3.5 connector market and haven't shot good bolt guns or haven't shot 1811s, and this is nothing against these guys, but they kind of tend toward that rolling break because that's kind of what that 3.5 connector introduces. And if you've never shot a good rifle, or if you've never shot a good 1911, you're gonna just go, wow, this is really light, and it feels great because it's light, and it's not the stock Glock. But that's not. There are other things out there that resemble more, like I said, like the 1911-ish. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to turn this striker-fired gun into a more efficient system. Of course, there's going to be a difference in between a combat model and a competition model, and that's what we're going to go through today. I don't really do the break feel things like I used to do unless they're specially requested. My thing is efficiency, and for any discipline, you need, in my opinion, to know where you are at. Nothing should be a surprise. You should have that wall. It should be a snap break right after the wall. It should be a dead stop, and you should be right back on that shot with a quick reset. So the competition and the combat models have the same exact reset. They're all fast. They're completely aggressive. They get you back on your shot ASAP, as fast as I can possibly get them running. The main difference between the two of them, the combat has a little room up front, just for insurance, to make sure that you don't do something you don't want to do. And the wall is much stouter. You need a nice stout wall on those defensive guns because you need the feedback. You need to have something there to measure when you're shooting as far as predictability is concerned. It has to be ultimately predictable, ultimately reliable, safe, all those aspects of, and the same thing with the competition guns. That gun should go bang every single time. So with that said, I am going to drop the camera down. I'm going to do my style of editing here and bring the camera down. And I have two G19s that I'm going to use to really, let me get this thing set up a little bit better. All right, I think we're good there. Oh, I call it floats a little bit, as if there's a ghost in the house or something like that. Just one more little tweak. I figure if you can handle the fast edits, you can handle a little bit of this. Okay, perfect. Okay, oh, there we go again. Okay, so anyway, this one is the competition model, and this one is the combat model. You're going to get the same exact parts in both of them as far as the aftermarket safety plunger, the reduced safety plunger spring, and the wrench is concerned to take out pre-travel or give more pre-travel or mess around with the over travel and reset. However, when you do get them, they are designed in a certain way that you do not have to touch them. They should, unless the gun is not firing, and we'll go over that, they should be just completely left alone. And that's how they're designed. I designed them that way. That's why one's called the combat and one is called the competition, because they are application specific. The only difference will be with the Gen 5s, when you get the striker, when you get it won't be an aftermarket safety plunger because they're not out yet. It will be the stock that's been a little bit modified, and it will have 2 wrenches to adjust because it's a different screw in the pre-travel. So the main thing will be a competition gun is going to be much lighter, not much lighter, but lighter than a combat gun. Or some people run them the same, but the reality is you want it to be a little heavier. I do build them so you can run these combat models in the 3-pound range because let me turn this phone down for God's sake. Because the combat model is, sorry, God almighty, I should have just left it. And you know what, I'm leaving it. So because the combat model is designed in a way where you have a nice stout wall, and until you're ready to commit to that shot, it's not really going anywhere. So, and all these are small batches. So here's all the connectors that I use. I only do 50 at a time so I can tune them up. All the springs now, this is different. They're all polished. Since I have the help, they can sit there on the wheel and go through a 4-wheel process to keep them nice and polished, because, when they are in the safety plunger, when they are in the striker channel, there is some compression, and it does help. I can honestly say that. I really don't do anything that I don't have to do. So, and the bars come stock from Glock. I say start here. They end up, all the housings, all that stuff. I have all these, sort of little bins on the wall that I pull from as I'm building. So they are custom builds. I don't have a bunch of these pre-made on the wall or anything like that. I build them as you guys order them. So let's go over the combat first. So this is designed exactly as the way the website talks about, and we do have a empty gun here. Show that. It has a little bit of pre-travel in the front. That is the pre-travel that you have right there. And as you can see, I'm butting against a very stout wall right there. So I'm not going to pull through it unless I intend to. And basically, after the shot breaks, and you can see, I always draw those lines and stuff like that right there, so you can see after that is taken up from here to there is the break. It was very short, it's very succinct, it's very predictable, and you can see the trigger guard does not go back all the way to the guard like a stock Glock would. And then when I reset the gun, as you can see, it is super short. Break. Reset, break. Now you've all seen this before. in all these videos, but you know, I'm doing kind of an updated one because these are two models. Like I said, you got the combat model, you got the competition model. So once again, just run you through it. There's the take up from there. Like I said, it is a snap glass rod brake. It will just feel like pressure. It's going to feel like a 1911 because you don't feel travel, you just feel pressure. That's it. That's the design. And then from there, that's how quick the reset is happening, and it's very aggressive. This action right here, I don't care who says what you say, this is going to rally a good 1911 all day long, especially as aggressive as the resets are, even more aggressive than the 1911s or the 2011s. You can get, you know, they're happening so quickly and aggressively that, you know, they're about 2.5 pounds. And let's see what this one is pulling. So with the 4.5 pound spring, this is pulling, I'm trying to get the lighting. This is pulling 3 pounds. There you go. So that's a little light for a carry trigger. I wouldn't necessarily carry this. That's why when you saw me like sort of going like this, I kind of blew through it because that's a light carry trigger. I like to keep it around 4 pounds, and that's why, you know, it comes with the it comes with the two springs, the 4.5 and the 5. Okay. Now we'll move over to the competition model. So it's the same idea as far as reset, but once again, empty gun, nothing in the chamber. It's the same idea as the combat, but what's happening here is, and you have to have this on your first shot. You're already on the wall, so there's no real take up, but you're on the wall here, but for this gun to be safe, and I'll show you here real quick, if I take any more pre-travel out of this gun, and I scored a line on there, so I'm right where, and I'll take it up here. I'm as maxed out as I can be. Now if I move this, I'm going to show you the little line. You might be able to see it that I drew there that goes across. It's right there. It's a line that goes across. That's how much I need to still keep that on there to keep it safe. That little bit of a line. So when I pull the vertical, when I pull it by the vertical extension and reset the gun, it's not going down. It's not going to go down. A little bit further, and watch this, it's going to go down. So we need to have that in the first shot for this gun to be safe. If a gun does not have that, you probably should open it up and take a look at it, because I guarantee you're probably more than likely off the shelf. Of course, the trigger safety tab is engaging the frame. That's very important when you're running a gun that tight. I'm gonna try and see that. Yeah, you can see it right there. It's engaging. When I pull it with 2 fingers on either side, it's not going anywhere. You know, everyone knows I shaved this down so it has a nice flat feel for you. So you're on the wall here, and this first shot you're gonna pull through, and then same thing, super short reset. Now from this point, it's the same thing as the combat trigger, but just lighter and with less resistance. So same thing, you're gonna, oh, now see, this is good that this is doing this. So there was a little glitch there. And so basically, and you'll have this sometimes when you're installing these triggers, because I'm trying to get so much out of them, you won't be able to break the shot. The shot is not going to want to go off. You're going to get to this point right here, and you're going to be squeezing and squeezing. Sometimes when you let go, it'll go off. It's just because the over travel needs adjusted. So as you can hear this hiccup, it didn't happen there, but it happened that one time. I would advise to keep when I test these guns, I always keep the slide lock off, but you need something like this, and what you're going to do is you're going to go in and you're going to push down on the cruciform, and I have that in a bunch of different videos, but I can still show you how to do it in this video. So this is the 99.9 times I get this. This is the adjustment that needs to be made. So you don't even have to take the entire trigger out. You're just popping the rear pin out, and you'll hear me say hike up the back. So now you have the housing out of the back of the gun, and that is going to give you the ability to get to that set screw. And I have a tool here to do it with mine, but I'm going to set it down here so you can see how little this has to be turned. So once I get the hex wrench in there, I am literally going to turn that much. That was maybe 1/8 of a 360. Put it back in. Super, super simple. Put the slide on the racket a couple times just so you can get it to seat a bit. And then from there, you'll see the brake is going to become a lot cleaner. And the reset might be a little bit longer, but not any noticeably for your finger when the beeper goes off. And like I said, it's the same efficient design. It's predictable. There is a wall there, but you can slice right through it. It's very palpable. It's not like the spongy brake that a lot of the other connectors and trigger groups are known for. So if we do a pull test on this one, we can see this one's pulling at 2.5 pounds right there. And that is with a 4.5 pound spring. What these come with is the Wolf 4 and 4.5 pound springs. I like the 4.5 pound springs because they will break any primer out there. 100% primer reliability. However, you know, people have been giving me good reviews about the 4-pound spring. I mean, they've been running Winchester white box and it's been breaking it. So, you know, one of the things you're going to get with the kit is this, and we'll go over in a second. But you know, traditionally that 4-pound spring can be iffy. If you're married to Federal or something like that, or soft primers, you're going to crack them every day. But if you, you know, if you don't want it to be finicky whatsoever, then you're going to use that 4.5 pound spring. And you can see you're still sub 3, which is an amazing trigger. And you saw how quick the resets on both of these guns were. So this is the combat, this is the competition. These are the design intentions and the applications for either one. Now, what you get here is, you know, it talks about a little bit about the geometry and, you know, how the green spring can cause, you know, unreliability with Tula and Wolf and stuff like that. It talks about, you know, you can call me, please call me with anything. But what's really cool in the back here is a chart. So if you want to set it up for self-defense, for tactical, or range target, or competition, it gives you all the little things, the combinations of what springs to use, where it's going to break at, and things of that nature. Also, with this as well, inside where the trigger is, you know, the little packaging your trigger comes in, you know, it will have the generation and all that there, and it'll say combat or competition or custom or whatever, and it's going to have all the pre-travel stuff. It's going to have averages for breaks. It's going to tell you to go to my YouTube channel, which you're watching right now. There's a bunch of stuff on frame and slide prep and striker prep and stuff like that. So speaking of strikers, you know, I do strikers. Here's a handful of them right here that I haven't worked yet. But, you know, I've since moved on to titanium for the lightened ones. I just like the reliability of those. I have them for the Gen 5s. I have them, of course, for Gen 3 and 4. I have them for the 42s. I have them for the 43s. The only thing I don't have lightened striker for is anything that has the configuration like 42, 43, and Gen 5. There's no light strikers available that I know of on the market or that I want to mess with that I trust, right? These are all low. A lot of the stuff is the 42, 43, and Gen 5 are Glock OEM. The other ones are Lone Wolf, which I've had great experience with. You know, no issues whatsoever. So that's the strikers. And, you know, of course I have the, you know, the connectors for sale too, and 42, 43. I have the 3.5, the 5.5s. I have some dots. I really don't put it out there, but if you're dying for like a dot connector, Glock has now taken them off of the LEO only list. So, I'm going to bring this back up and get my mug in here. I have to put it down. Yeah, one thing, you know, you surely, we always laugh because, you know, my camera work, it's never going to get better. I have a website, so you never know. There's it might come someday when you see all the edits and all the cool stuff, have a little, you know, Johnny Glock this, and have me shooting and some explosions, and I'll probably have some like really cool electronic dance music going on in the background because, you know, a lot of you know that's my gig with my, you know, headphones that I always have here. But anyway, man, I really miss making videos. I do. it got crazy for a while, you know, especially, yeah, you guys can see this too after the accident. But let me see if I can get a good shot at that. Look at that bad boy. So that's all healed up now, which is good. 100% functional with that. And yeah, I'm back up and running at the capacity that I want to be for what I'm doing. Another thing is that, you know, if you want, I don't, you know, like Jonathan from Tactical Toolbox just did a review on my trigger. So, you know, if you want to Apex shoot, if you want to Overwatch Precision, if you want a Suarez, Agency, whatever that is, you have to send it to me. You pick the custom trigger option, and then you call me and we talk and we do just like I used to do it. And you're always free to call me even if you get the competition or the combat. But for the custom trigger, you have to give me a ring and we discuss it all, why you want it, what the application is, just like old times, man. So that's that. And then, you know, the 42 and 43, the pure carries, they are dynamite. You know what I mean? Talk to anyone, or you can put your comments here. Those things are just that knocked them through the park, man. Just bam, right on it. Quick return, quick reset, slam and quick break, and with a stout wall. And then there's the drop bar too, which is just kind of like the everyday carry sort of, you know, like model, just so, you know, if you're just getting into it, kind of user-friendly, very user-friendly. It's just a bar, you just drop it and you're ready to go. So I guess that's all I wanted to address with this video. I just wanted to kind of get, you know, it's like going to the gym. You have to get back at it. So I want to get my mug in front of the camera and do some talking. And like I said, please leave some ideas for me of what you want to see, you know, on the Glocksmithing on the Glocksmithing arena of things. And I'll do my best to get those up. So, Johnny Glock. The website now, it's beautiful, and I'd like to thank Mel from Gun Fu who did this whole thing for me. The Gun Fu community has been very, very, very gracious with me, and I can't thank Dave and Mel enough there for helping me out with that. So I have to give it out to them for helping me with the website. And that's www.johnnyglocks with an S, johnnyglocks.com. And if you have any questions, mostly everything's on that website. I'm going to start embedding little videos and all that stuff. But I can see I'm getting a little long-winded, as usual. So I'm going to say adios. And it was great being here again. And I will see you guys sooner than later. Give me some of those ideas later on.